previous lecture we use this pipe body and pipe end to bleed and make our bottom pipe and top pipe, and we also detect this collision in the init method of our pipe pair class. So now let's just add some of the property basically for this class. So let's get into it. So firstly, what we're gonna do here is after this init method, we'll just add first property, and the first property will be defining the top height pixel. So what is the top height pixel here? So I have used here top height pixel. If you just see here, in the case of the total pipe index, so it would be confused at that time, and I have told you before that in the previous lecture I'll just use this top height pixel as a property in the next lecture. So that is in this lecture basically, and this top height pixel will be measured something that is to get the top pipe height. Height pixel is to get the height of the top pipe, basically get the top pipe height. So how will we get that? So just return self dot, obviously we have top pieces here, so in the top pieces we'll just call this pipe pair piece height. And if you get any confusion about this piece height and top pieces, so I have a reference code added in the resources, you can just check there, and I have here that is the bunch of the comment there in order to give you just idea about this all the attribute, so you can check that for the reference. Now what we're gonna do next is we'll add another property after this return, and that would be the property defining the bottom, that is bottom height pixel is here, that is the bottom height pixel, and this will get the bottom pipe height in pixel. So this is bottom height, and that should be pixel, and also it will return a self dot bottom pipe pieces, that is bottom pieces, and multiply it with pipe pair dot pieces height, that is piece height. So we have now bottom height pixel and top height pixel, which represents basically the height of the top pipe and the bottom pipe height in pixel. So after that we'll just add another property here that will be defining the visibility. So what this visible is really, VGBILE, that should be visible. And this visible will just get whether the pipe pair is on the screen visible to the player or not. So just checks or just show, and this is basically a boolean type. So let me just say it is a boolean type, and just it will just return us either true or false based on basically whether, so what am I typing here? So it is whether basically whether the pipe pair, it should be pipe pair on the screen, whether the pipe pair on the screen is visible to user or player. You can say player here. So it is basically the visible function, and that will just return us a boolean type. So just return now, how can you return is minus pipe pair dot, it should be width now, and that's a pair of width, that is the basically the pipe width. So we'll say self dot yux here, and basically width, that is win width, height, it should be width not height, win width. So basically it is showing that if it is visible to the user or not, or it is inside the boundary or not. So this is the way, and width is basically this width is showing that is the width of the pipe, but in minus will show the next boundary basically for you. So this is the way to just return either true or a false based on whether the pipe pair on the screen is visible to the player or not. So after this visible function we have another property, bunch of property we have already defined. Now another property will be, obviously you should have to guess, that is a rect property, like that we have in the case of the bird. So what it's gonna do is get the rectangle while contains this pipe here. So that means it will just return us rect and with a R capital, just get self.x. So it will just create a rectangle based on our 4 parameter, and that will be similarly O second and pipe here. It should be pipe here dot height first. It should be width first. It should be width. Let me just type here again. It should be width here, and similarly pipe here dot height. So it's piece height, not height. It is piece height. Now after that, what we're gonna do is we'll define now update here, and just update function, and this update will just take argument as a delta frames. So let me just give you an underscore here, and delta frame will be 1 here. So what is basically this update function is doing is updating the pipe here position, and this argument delta frame is basically number of frame. It is number of frame elapsed, and after this method is called. So same as that of bird, it is also the number of frame that is elapsed after this method is called. Now we'll just define this update function, that is self.x, that the movement for our pipe. So how this pipe should move, there should not be change in the x direction obviously, but sorry, that should not be in the direction of y, because we usually do not move up and down basically, and it should move only the left and right. So that means it will only go in the left position, not even right position. So that for that case we just subtract here, and we'll say animation speed multiply by frame 2 millisecond obviously, and just give the delta frame, which is the basically number of frame elapsed after this method is called basically. So after that, what are you going to define? So next last important method will be collide, that is collides with. So this is obviously for the marks, same as the marks, and it will just take a bird. So what is the player? Basically bird is the player here, and it will just get if bird collide with the pipe here. What if the bird collide with the pipe here? Then what this function will do is it will return Pygame dot sprite. We have sprite here, and just collide marks. You should have collide marks, and you can see here a collide marks has left and right. So we'll just pass here self, and similarly we'll just pass a bird here because bird was striking. So now we have completed both our class, that is our pipe here, and similarly we have completed our bird class. So in the next lecture we'll complete with this our main function. Some of the part of this main function will deal with the events, and we'll run the game, that is a primary game, and we'll just update the score in the next coming lectures, bunch of lectures. So see you in the next.